Picture this. You're going about your day, working your field, feeding your kids, maybe arguing with your neighbor about whose goat ate whose vegetables. Normal stuff. And then you just drop dead. No warning, no explanation, just gone. Now multiply that by 70,000 people. 3 days, 70,000 bodies. And you know what the craziest part is? None of them did anything wrong. Their only crime? Living in the wrong kingdom at the wrong time. This actually happened in the Bible. And honestly, it's one of those stories that'll make you sit there and go, wait, what? We're diving into the uncomfortable stuff, the stories that make you squirm, the ones that raise more questions than answers. These are the types of content I create. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. Let's set the scene. We're talking about King David here. You know, the giant slayer, the psalmist, God's favorite guy. One day, David wakes up and decides, you know what? I want to count my army. Let's see how many fighting men I've got. And you're probably thinking, okay, so what? Every country counts their military, right? We've got the Pentagon doing head counts all the time. Here's where it gets weird. For sure, your whole body will tremble, your brain will explode, and you will definitely be blown away if you learn that David's top general, a guy named Joab, who, by the way, was not known for being Mr. Sensitive. Even Joab says, boss, maybe we shouldn't do this. Joab actually pushes back, may the Lord your God multiply the troops, but why does my Lord want to do such a thing? Think about that. This is the same Joab who murdered people in cold blood. He's the one saying, this feels wrong. But David? Nah, he's not listening. The census goes ahead anyway. Now, here's the million-dollar question. What's so dangerous about counting your men that it'll end up costing 70,000 lives? Some scholars say it was about pride, David wanting to see his power on paper. Others say that whenever you count people, you need to collect atonement money, which David did not do. Was it about trusting in military might instead of trusting God? Whatever it was, God was not happy about it. But get this, the census took 9 months to complete. 9 whole months of traveling from town to town, writing down names and numbers, and God just watched. Didn't say a word until the entire thing was done. It's like watching someone build a house on the edge of a cliff for 9 months and then going, by the way, that's a terrible idea, right when they finish. Don't be the person who shows up to the group chat with nothing but crap news. Be the one who drops knowledge bombs that make everyone go, how did I not know this? Who's really to blame here? Okay, so now we've got a theological puzzle that's bugged scholars for centuries. 2 Samuel 24:1 says, the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, go and take a census. But then flip over to 1 Chronicles 21:1, and it says, Satan rose up against Israel and incited David to take a census. So, which is it? Did God do it, or did Satan do it? Some people say it's a contradiction. Others say it's like 2 camera angles of the same event. Satan suggested it, God allowed it, and David chose it. It's like one of those philosophical debates about free will that can keep you up at night. But here's what we know for sure. David took the census. David's heart was in the wrong place. David was relying on numbers instead of God. And what happens next is where this story goes from uncomfortable to downright disturbing. So God sends the prophet Gad to David with a message. But it's not just, you messed up, here's your punishment. No, David gets options. Like he's ordering off a menu at the Divine Judgment Cafe. Here are the 3 specials. Option 1, 7 years of famine in your land. Option 2, 3 months of running from your enemies while they chase you down. Option 3, 3 days of plague from the Lord. Now pause for a second. Notice anything about all 3 options? In every single one, innocent people die. Not David, the guy who actually sinned. He's fine. He gets to choose which punishment sounds least terrible to him. Imagine if this happened today. The president makes a bad call, and then God shows up and says, okay, so for your mistake, we're gonna either starve your country for 7 years, let enemies invade for 3 months, or send a plague for 3 days. You pick. We'd lose our minds, right? But David says, let us fall into the hands of the Lord, for his mercy is great, but do not let me fall into human hands. He picked option 3, 3 days of plague. And here's the dark irony. He chose God's mercy. How'd that mercy work out? There are those who believe in every whisper, and there are those who don't seem to bother much. The question is, what can we gain from this? The plague hits, fast, hard, merciless, from Dan all the way down to Beersheba. That's the entire kingdom. People start dropping like flies. 70,000. Let's think about that for a moment. This isn't an army. These are farmers, bakers, fathers, and men in their prime who didn't sign up for danger. And here's what really gets me. The Bible doesn't share their stories, dreams, or families. Just a number, a statistic. They didn't vote for the census. They didn't even know about the census. They were just collateral damage. If you want to expand your thinking and deepen your understanding, come and let's delve together into meaningful studies and find the answer to the question, is it true? The angel of death was literally rage shopping through Israel, and then, plot twist, God hit the brakes at a random grain sorting parking lot. Picture this, the divine grim reaper is on a rampage, checking off victims like items on a cosmic to-do list. Bodies are dropping everywhere. Then suddenly, at some guy named Araunah's threshing floor, basically an ancient Costco parking lot where they separate wheat from trash, God yells, "Enough!" and the whole apocalypse just stops. Like imagine death's hand literally stretched out ready to delete Jerusalem. And God's like, okay, that's sufficient murder for today. Stand down. 70,000 people dead, and the off switch happens to be at a grain processing facility. Enough. That's the word. 70,000 was enough. But why? Why there? Why not after 10,000? Why not after 1,000? Why not after 1? What made 70,000 the magic number? Who decided that was sufficient? Was there a quota? And this is where David finally has his "what have I done" moment. He sees the angel and says, I have sinned. I, the shepherd, have done wrong. These are but sheep. What have they done? Let your hand fall on me and my family. Noble words. Heroic even. Except 70,000 people are already dead, David. Where was this energy 9 months ago when Joab warned you? David runs to the threshing floor where the angel stopped. He finds Araunah and says, I need to buy this spot and build an altar here. Araunah, probably terrified out of his mind, says, take it, it's yours, just make this stop. But David insists on paying, and so he pays and builds an altar. He sacrifices some animals, makes his offerings. And just like that, snap of the fingers, the plague stops. God's mercy was moved by David's repentance, intercession, and sacrificial obedience. David admitted his guilt, pleaded for the people, and obeyed God's command delivered through Gad. Skip the ordinary and dive into the secret chef's tasting menu of stories. We're your guide to uncovering hidden gems and surprising twists, making you the main character with jaw-dropping facts. Unlock the knowledge you crave. Let's bring this into the 21st century for a minute. If a president made a decision that resulted in 70,000 civilian deaths in 3 days, what would we call that? A tragedy? A war crime? Genocide? We'd demand trials, investigations, justice. But because this is in the Bible, we call it divine judgment. We say God's ways are higher than our ways, and we move on. Now, I'm not here to bash anyone's faith. But I think we have to sit with the discomfort of this story. North Korea punishes entire families when one person defects. 3 generations get sent to labor camps for one person's crime. We call that cruel. We call that a human rights violation. So what makes this different? Look, if your boss punished the entire office because Karen from accounting messed up her spreadsheet, you'd call HR faster than you can say lawsuit. But God owns the board, the bank, and makes the rules. This is tough, and that's exactly the point. Most YouTube channels are like flashy carnival games, enticing but empty. We're the boutique coffee shop of content, offering substance and quality. Choose us for engaging, memorable videos that nourish your mind, unlike the usual brain-draining fare. This story is in the Bible. It's not like we can just skip over it and pretend it doesn't exist. Maybe we're supposed to be uncomfortable with this. Maybe faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about being willing to wrestle with the hard questions. The Bible gives us this story, and it doesn't explain it away. It doesn't soften the blow. It just says, this happened. Deal with it. 70,000 people died because their king got too big for his britches. That's the story. And if that doesn't make you pause and think about leadership, power, and accountability, I don't know what will. Just go ahead and check it out. What's the worst that could happen, right? Don't be a chicken. You know what bothers me most about this story? We remember David, we sing his psalms. We tell stories about him slaying Goliath. We call him a man after God's own heart. But the 70,000? They're just a number in a history book, just casualties, footnotes in David's life story. And that's true today too, isn't it? History remembers the kings and forgets the people who paid for their mistakes. When leaders make bad calls, when the powerful play games with lives, it's never them who suffer most. It's always the nameless masses. Every time you hear someone invoke God's will to justify suffering, whether it's war, poverty, or injustice, remember this story. Every time a leader's decisions devastate ordinary people, remember David. Every time someone dies and no one bothers to know his name, ask why. Unlock exclusive, mind-blowing stories that make you the MVP of every conversation. Like a secret menu, this VIP content is for those in the know. Subscribe, engage, and stay ahead of the curve. David's census killed 70,000 people who never got to tell their side of the story. So we're telling it for them. Because if we don't remember the victims, if we don't ask the hard questions, if we don't hold power accountable, then history will only celebrate the kings and forget everyone else. And that's not a legacy worth leaving. Oh, buckle up. If you don't get this, you could be staring at a pile of gold and there you are thinking it's just some fancy copper. Here's something to chew on. Jesus himself said, "For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." David exalted himself by counting his strength instead of trusting God's. And 70,000 people were humbled into their graves for it. Maybe the real lesson here isn't about census taking or divine punishment. Maybe it's about what happens when we put our trust in numbers, in power, in ourselves, instead of recognizing that true strength comes from humility and dependence on something greater than us. Or as Abraham Lincoln once said, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." David had power, and in that moment, his character failed the test. Open up your mind and further enrich your understanding of well-researched knowledge, which is the foundation of true wisdom. Remember, it's essential to select content that offers something of value. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Can you defend this story? Should we even try? And if this made you uncomfortable, good. That means you're actually thinking about it. Hit that subscribe button for more biblical deep dives that don't shy away from the difficult questions. See you then.